Afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for our live broadcast of our virtual information session on funding your graduate degree. My name is Josh Willow. I'm the Associate Director for Admissions and Recruitment here at the Brown School at Washington University. Today we're going to talk about a variety of ways in which we address the detailed and maybe even perplexing ways to fund your education. And with that being said, we've invited a member of our community to join us for this conversation who's definitely well skilled and has a lot of knowledge in that, and we're going to share the floor to discuss that. So I want to turn over to Lee so that Lee can introduce himself.
Yeah, so I'm happy to be here. My name is Lee Collicker. I'm the Director of Career Services here at the Brown School. And we're really excited about this opportunity to meet potential students and see what ways we can support you in your career and your overall goals. So we're very excited for this opportunity, and thank you for allowing us to attend.
Well, thank you for being here. So I want to put out another reminder. Some of you have submitted questions ahead of time, and so we appreciate that. We're going to try to cover some of those during our presentation, as well as answer some at the very end of our presentation. But I also want to encourage you to submit your questions live. You can do that via the platform that you are watching on. We'll collect those and we'll add those to the questions that we address later if we have not addressed them in our presentation. So again, thank you for being here. All right, so we're here to discuss funding your degree and to answer questions about FAFSA, loans, WorkStudy, and just the kind of graduate experience in funding your degree. And so we're going to start a slideshow here. All right. So here's just a real brief overview of some of our financial aid deadlines just to pay attention. So coming up soon is our early action deadline for applications. Applications that are completed, which means all parts are in, including recommendations and everything else, will receive their scholarship decisions by February 1st. Between actually right about now and early in the spring semester, we anticipate that we will have our MRF process start. So just look out for some notifications on the Master's Research Fellowship, which we'll cover in more detail later. March 1st is our regular decision deadline. So that's when we ask that you complete your application at that time, and we will get you your decision within 6 to 8 weeks to push through. And again, at that point, you will receive your scholarship decision. March 1st is the FAFSA deadline. We'll talk a little bit more about FAFSA. But in order to be considered for WorkStudy, you will have to have your FAFSA completed by March 1st. And then after March 1st, our admission process is rolling, which means we will still consider your application, and we will still consider funding when it comes to scholarships, but those will be given and distributed as they are available after March 1st. So we encourage people to put in their best application and get those submitted as early as possible. But March 1st, we will continue to evaluate your applications at that point and afterwards. Of course, FAFSA is still being used at that time, and you'll use that to address things like student loans. All right, so here's a big question about how students fund their graduate degrees. And there are many ways in which we do that, and we'll start off with scholarships. The Brown School offers a scholarship opportunity for all students that apply, whether you are domestic or international. You have an opportunity in your application to indicate if you want to be considered for merit-based scholarship, and we will review your application holistically. At that point, again, when you receive your decision, you will receive your scholarship application. A part of that application process is an interview that you will video as well. And so once all parts of your application are reviewed, you will be assessed a scholarship. In addition, there are external scholarship opportunities that you can find online from outside organizations, which is another way. Of course, there are other options like family assistance or 529 plans, saving plans, employer assistance programs. For those of you who are currently employed or are getting ready to leave to join us at the Brown School, you might want to look into what opportunities are there from an employer assistance perspective. There are payment plan options. And then, of course, we have on-campus employment in a variety of ways, and then student loans. So how are the scholarships awarded? This is a great question that we receive often. So all of our scholarships that we administer within admissions and recruitment are merit-based scholarships. Again, they are offered during your admissions process, and you will complete a video-based interview to be assessed the actual scholarship amount. Again, they are available for all of our students, and there's a flat amount that you will receive that will cover your tuition for your first and second year. So the dollar amount that you receive will cover both years. The lowest range is from about $5,000 to a few awards, but the highest range, which is a full tuition scholarship. We also have need-based scholarships, and there's some limited funding that's pretty unique to the Brown School and what we have to offer. It's available for students who demonstrate more significant or the most significant financial need, and there's a separate application that's required. Part of that application is you will demonstrate things like past scholarship loan amounts that you've received, as well as other personal identifying issues like dependents, etc. And those will all be considered in assessing that award. And those awards last year ranged from about $5,000 to $10,000. We have an external database that you can find on the Brown School website, which is brownschool.wustl.edu. I'll try that again. It's available at brownschool.wustl.edu. And then, of course, we really encourage people to do independent searches because there are a lot of opportunities out there that we could not cover comprehensively on our website. All right, so some bigger questions about what is FAFSA, and what we want to do is demystify our federal process for receiving financial aid. Of course, FAFSA is our federal opportunity available to domestic students, so that's available to citizens and permanent residents of the United States. It's a free application in which you can receive, at this time, unsubsidized and graduate plus loans. It's required for all financial aid that you complete the FAFSA form that became available October 1st, and every year that you are a student, you will need to complete the form. You can find that form at FAFSA.gov, that's FAFSA.gov, and in order to complete the form, you'll need to use your prior year's federal tax forms. As far as when the FAFSA is due, we encourage people to get that completed by March 1st, especially if you want to be considered for federal work study. Outside of that, there's no hard deadline, and you can apply fairly late to be considered for federal FAFSA loans. As far as how long it takes to be awarded your funds, if your FAFSA is complete and on file, you will receive your award notification 1 to 2 weeks after your admission decision. And so if you have any questions, you can contact our Assistant Director for Financial Aid, Matt Newland. His email is listed below. We will also show this at the end of our presentation, but he can be found at mnewlin@wustl.edu. That's mnewlin@wustl.edu. So we have a lot of questions that come in about the public service loan forgiveness program, and we understand that there may be some things that may be changing with this at a federal policy level. So you'll need to pay attention as you're planning your investments towards the future as to if this is something that you're going to be relying on. This is a federal program that provides an opportunity for students to get their loan balances taken care of and erased. And the way this works, of course, is that you will need to make 120 full-time on-time payments for your federal student loans, which is about 10 years or one payment a month. Of course, your payments will need to be on a qualifying repayment plan that you will make that arrangement with the federal loan. And then you will also make payments while working full-time in a public service sector. And so to learn more about that current program, you can go to www.studentaid.ed.gov. You can learn more there. All right, so another question comes up, and we'll cover this in a variety of different ways, but this question comes up about what sorts of jobs these students find on campus. I know that one of the most important pieces here is figuring out that students can work sometimes 10, 15, 20 hours a week, and so what types of jobs will be available on campus, not jobs that are available necessarily off campus. So of course we have federal work study jobs, campus jobs, we have master's, research fellowships, and research assistantships. First one I want to discuss with you is our federal work study jobs. As mentioned before, when you complete the FAFSA, your federal work study can and may be awarded to you. It's an opportunity to work on the college campus, which helps pay for your income. And some examples of that are We have student workers who work within the Office of Admissions and Recruitment, our student ambassadors. We have students who work in IT, media services, career services, the library, and others. There are also some research opportunities and positions that are federal work-study eligible, and so we will you can go ahead and take a look at those as well. There are also campus and university opportunities. Many of those, of course, are offered by departments outside of the Brown School who are looking to hire federal work-study students as well as non-federal work-study students. So it's not just limited to federal work-study students. Fellowship and graduate assistantships that we've had in the past, and including this year, are for the Center of Diversity and Inclusion, the Office of Residential Life, Office of Student Involvement and Leadership, the Gephardt Institute, as well as the Relationship and Sexual Violence Prevention Center, or RSVP Center. These are hourly rate positions typically, and they're not to exceed 20 hours a week. We have another opportunity called the Master's Research Fellowship, and as we mentioned before, we are looking to get that information posted somewhere between now and February. These are research opportunities that you are eligible for once you submit a completed application. You'll need to have that completed, and of course, you'll need to be accepted into the program in order to be considered for a Master's Research Fellowship. But the great thing about these opportunities is that it's a chance to work along with a faculty or associated research center here. And we have well over 15 of those research centers and community partnerships here within the Brown School. This opportunity allows for you to have a waived health and wellness fee, and it's valued approximately $5,000 per year. And one other thing about people who are interested in doing research is that the MRF opportunity is not the only one. There are independent research opportunities where you can work with faculty or research centers on a variety of projects. Students who have sought these positions have worked with them here in the Brown School as well as the medical school and across the Washington University community. Oftentimes, what we encourage students to do outside of our office is to connect with faculty members by networking. If you're interested, you can contact our office at Brown Admissions at workstudy.edu, and we are willing to connect you with any faculty that you're interested in. But if you go on our website, you'll be able to see a wide variety of faculty and their research interests. And we encourage you to network for the possibility of an opportunity of connecting for some of the later research opportunities. Of course, this conversation would not be complete if we did not address our tuition and fees for next year. And so the 2018-19 fees will be coming up in late January. But here is an example of the fees from this past year of 2017-2018, with tuition for both MSW and Public Health being at $39,968 and $35,492 respectively. There's a health insurance fee that's $1512 for both. Of course, the wellness fee is $375. And the student activity fee was $60 last year. So, and there are the totals there for our tuition and fees. And again, when it comes to funding your education, just remember, there are a lot of things to consider. Our scholarship opportunities, both internal, external, which will help tremendously when it comes to addressing some of these numbers, as well as when you consider funding your education, we want you to consider things like housing. So St. Louis is considered number 7 on the Forbes list of the most affordable cities. An average Brown School student pays approximately $630 per month in rent. So we have a wide variety of neighborhoods around our campus and throughout our city, and a lot of them are accessible. Every student has access to a Metro card, so you will have access to going back and forth potentially from your home and practicum sites, depending on where those land, that are already covered in your tuition and fees. There are a lot of great neighborhoods adjacent to our campus, and a lot of our students, staff, and faculty work within these communities. So you can even take the Metro bus, the Metro train, et cetera, to get to campus. And I can tell you students do everything from live on their own in apartments to identify roommates throughout their process. I can tell you that as you're looking at your overall value proposition of what you're going to be paying for college costs and you're considering locations, of course, I'm sure you will consider the strength of our programs as one of the more important factors. But when it comes to funding your education, we want you to consider also on top of that, the bonus that we are fortunately located in a city that is very affordable. And I know some of you who are viewing this from a variety of coasts are we'll probably be pretty surprised and maybe even excited to see some of those average numbers there. In the future, after students are admitted, there's an admitted student Facebook group, and there's an opportunity for you to find roommates there. So we make that really, hopefully, an easy transition and a painless opportunity if you are not moving to St. Louis with roommates already or with people that you know already. There's a great matching opportunity where you can even cut some of these expenses to even be lower over your 2 years here in St. Louis with us at the Brownsville Washington University. So at this point, I'm going to kind of return back to our conversation, and I want to really bring Lee back into the conversation to talk about career services. Lee and his team provide a robust amount of opportunities for students in the community to get connected, right? As well as if you consider the end in mind, after you're done with the programs, what is life going to look like outside of our Brown School experience? And so I'll just jump right into maybe give you a little chance to talk a little bit about that, and we can transition whenever you're ready to the slides.
Yeah, absolutely. So while I'm talking, why don't we go ahead and transition into the slideshow. But one of our philosophies in career services is to really take the opportunity to work with students from day one. And oftentimes we're working with students even before they show up on campus. We want you to feel comfortable while you're in school, and we're willing to help you provide those opportunities to find part-time employment. For example, every year we have a part-time career fair during our orientation week, which helps students coordinate and facilitate opportunities to work while they're in school and make those connections that will be useful, whether it's a work-study position, a regular part-time position, or even a research opportunity. We bring those organizations on campus, whether they're internal or whether they're external, and provide students the opportunity to connect. And so that's going to be within the first week before you even start classes. And our goal is to work with you from day one, like I mentioned before. So just to kind of give our overall model that we use in career services. So we are an adult learner model. We are not a placement service. We teach students how to navigate their career trajectories. We want to help them ultimately find their career goal and maintain those goals for a lifetime. But it's up to them to interview for positions and to find a connection that truly fits. We are also a high-touch environment, so we really believe in the mentorship type philosophy where we provide that mentorship and that development while you're a student here in school, as well as when you're an alum as well. Our services are free for a lifetime, and so we want you to be able to develop that repetition and that habit so you'll be successful in your future. We kind of break that down into kind of a pyramid of the different relationships that we provide. First, one of the things that we really focus on is the different types of programming that's going to provide you with the skills that are necessary to be successful, along with the experience and, the most important, the confidence level that will help you get to where you want to go. We're also going to be able to bring you opportunities to build relationships with the community, whether that's internally in St. Louis region or externally outside of the region, and even internationally. So one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is creating a connection between organizations and students. And this is really important to us. For example, in the fall, we've had already over 170 organizations come on campus to meet with our student bodies, our students. And so this is really important to us, and we know those relationships will be able to sustain a network and lead to possible opportunities. But our overall goal is to teach you the skills, the experience, provide you the confidence, and provide you those relationships so you'll be able to indefinitely sustain your career for a lifetime. We don't want you to have to be worried about your next transition or getting into management. We want to provide you with those skills that will benefit you now for the future. So just to kind of talk about our overall activity-based learning and programming, we provide a variety of different advising, over 10 different types of advising sessions. Now, we also add ad hoc sessions, so if there's something that you want to talk about that's not necessarily addressed within some of those advising sessions, we're more than willing to speak with you on those topics. Like I said, we are here to be mentors. We are here to help you grow professionally. And so we offer a variety of different opportunities to connect through students to advising. We offer over 30 hours of available advising appointments per week. We have a variety of different advisors that are focused on different areas and different specializations and concentrations that also come with a variety of different background and experiences. And so they'll be able to help you along your goal and along your way while you're in school. we usually average over 1,000 different advising appointments per year. So we're very busy and we're very connected to the students. Another way that we provide activity-based learning is through our programming, in our career development program in particular. And so we offer a different variety of workshops and seminars throughout the year. We usually range anywhere from 75 to 100 different types of workshops. So these are pretty consistent. It breaks down to 1 or 2 a week. These opportunities are based on standard curriculum that we've created, but also we create ad hoc workshops based on the need of students or the demand of students. For example, recently we had a workshop focused on how to use technology in social work to create boundaries with your clients. This is something that we added just because there was a growing interest from students in that regard. In addition, one key thing that we want to highlight is our career week. Every year we have a career week that usually spans anywhere from 2 to 5 days that has a variety of different sessions that are taught on different types of skills and experiences that you'll need to be successful. Anywhere from how to start a private practice to the best practices in networking to how to really expand on researching social impact bonds and creating a financial stability as a social worker or a public health practitioner. And so we have a variety of different workshops, and we usually average about 15 students per workshop. So it's a great way to look at your schedule. I know your schedule is going to be busy, and it's going to be very complex with the different coursework and curriculum that you are already working on, but it gives you the flexibility to meet with us during programming for a lunch or after school sometime or on weekends. We have a variety of different options, and we are here to really see what the students are interested in and try to provide that skill development to help them be successful. And the last thing that we really focus on is really providing those relationships with our organizations, those external organizations. So we do a variety of different things. We do traditional career fairs, but we know that in social science or social work and public health and policy, that those aren't as meaningful opportunities. So we also have converted to a micro fair type model, where we have a variety of different employer showcases. And an employer showcase is essentially we bring in 1 or 2 employers on campus, focus on a particular specialization or concentration. And we provide those more intimate settings where students have the ability to connect with these employers. And instead of seeing a congregation of 150, 200, 1,000 people, we focus more on 10, 20, smaller contingencies of students. So it's not overwhelming, it's in a comfortable and safe environment. We also have a variety of different career conversations and virtual career conversations where we're bringing organizations on campus to talk about what it's like to work at their organization. So there's no stress of interviews, there's no stress of having to go to an organization. They come to you and they meet with you to talk about their opportunities. And so it's a really low-key environment. In the virtual career conversations, we bring alumni and organizations from all over the country and even all over the world. We've had people Skype in from Korea as well as India that have been able to talk about different opportunities that we have abroad. And they're talking about the same thing, what it takes to be successful in finding these different types of positions. And we have these different events all throughout the year. And finally, we have a very robust alumni academy, which we'll go into a little bit more in depth a little bit later, but it's essentially being able to connect alumni to students for those mentorship type relationships as well. So our overall goal, we understand that in social work and public health and policy, you're going to be really divulging into a variety of different skill sets. And we want you to be able to understand the value that those skill sets bring. So we have launched a Know Your Value campaign, which really articulates, one, by identifying your overall value and how it relates to your community, the client, the society, and the organization that you work for. And we work on your ability to articulate that value to those different lenses. Our overall goal, we know all of you will be coming here with a why, with a reason why you're focused on social work, public health, and policy. And we want you to be able to maximize your impact. So we are able to tailor your why, or the reason why you're here. We want to work on helping you understand your value, be able to articulate your value to overall find your true fit. That's our overall goal, and that's essentially the cycle that we'll be using to work with you while you're a student as well as while you're an alum. Now, this is just kind of an example of some of the different titles that we've seen this past year. We created a word cloud associated with some of the different titles that we've seen in social work, public health, and policy. And as you see, some of these are very traditional jobs as well as some are non-traditional. And so that's another thing that we'll be discussing a little bit later. We are really honing in on your ability to articulate those skills in a variety of different areas. So you really can make impact in for-profit settings as well as nonprofit settings. And this is just a list of organizations that we've had on campus this past fall. And as you can see, we have, healthcare, financial services, we have tech companies, we have different foundations, we have, insurance companies, we have nonprofits, for-profits, government organizations, and a variety of different options for students that are consistently coming to campus to recruit our students. We also have been growing our consultancy wing, where we're having more consultants come on, whether that's like Bridgespan Group or Third Plateau, that are focused on social impact, or they're traditional management consultants like Accenture, PwC, or Parthenon. And so these are all opportunities that our students have on campus at the Brown School, and we make sure to partner with different groups on Washington University's campus to expand your opportunities to learn and develop new skill sets.
All right, thank you, Lee. So the timing of this presentation is actually really great. I actually met with an alumni today to talk to them a little bit about partnering with them and what they're doing in the community from an admissions and recruitment perspective. And the person that graduated from here probably about close to 10 years ago. And what they shared with me is that they're working with within an institute of higher education, but they're doing community outreach. And so I think she really embodies that non-traditional job path, and her career has been in traditional MSW related fields, but because of the degree programs that we offer both in social work and public health are so broad, it's allowed her to really have a really robust and varied experience in her career, and she still stays connected with us by providing opportunities for practicums with our students as well. So that's really exciting. But Lee, as you think about some of these like non-traditional jobs, are there any that stand out to you, and how do students get connected to those non-traditional jobs? What are some that really kind of stand out to you over the years?
So that's a great thing. And first, I think we need to define what traditional and non-traditional jobs are. So usually traditional jobs are typical jobs or typical organizations that typically hire social workers and public health practitioners. A non-traditional organization are organizations that may hire law degree candidates, or they may hire MBAs, but now they're looking at social work and public health. Now, the key focal point here is to know that within your social work program as well as your public health program, you're going to be developing skills that are highly valuable on the market. And so that's why we really try to focus on your value and how those skills can be marketed in the overall economic environment, so the market in general. And so we have a lot of students that are really focused on creating impact, but you can create impact in a lot of different ways. You can create impact at a nonprofit working in the community. You can create impact working with individuals in a direct practice organization. You can create impact working for a corporation, working in corporate social responsibility. There's a lot of different ways. And so one of the things that we're really trying to focus on are some of those non-traditional trajectories and the timelines to get you connected. For example, we have a lot of students that are interested in consulting right now, because in consulting, you have a huge increase in demand for healthcare consultants and social impact consultants. But their timeline is usually a little bit different from traditional social science. And so we work with students to, one, identify the different timelines that they need to really start getting their resumes and cover letters ready to engage in those different types of activities. And so we are meeting regularly with these different types of organizations, and we are articulating the value of our social workers as well as the value of our public health professionals and the different skills that make them unique, as well as the skills that make them qualified and make them stand out in those environments. And so we are consistently recruiting and bringing those organizations on campus. Like I said, we've had over 170 organizations on campus just in the fall, and we'll have a similar type engagement plan in the spring as well. So consistently, we're bringing in a myriad of different organizations to campus to engage with students. And so as a student, you'll have a variety of different opportunities to engage face-to-face on campus, as well as opportunities to do job shadowing and engage with different organizations across the country and even across the world. And so, that's, one of our key focus points is to try to build out that non-traditional organizational reserve, because we know our students make immense impact. And now it's time to create more impact in different fields.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, one of the things that stood out for me was one of our peers from your class also works at U.S. Bank, and again, when you think of people who are graduating with social work or public health degrees, sometimes there are these sectors that people wouldn't necessarily consider, but there are places where you can have an impact, make a difference, and use your degree effectively in ways that you would not have considered prior to your time at the Brown School. I want to talk about another opportunity here, which is our practicum experiences. I know that we have a great field education class or office that you partner with, and we know that the field experience really helps to translate to the professional experience. And so can you talk to us about how you and your office works within the practicum experience, especially relating those experiences to the real world and identifying employment opportunities?
Absolutely. So one of our key areas of support is to work with our field education office. We see the practicum to employment pipeline as just a great opportunity to really take advantage of, one, building your network, building your reputation, and possibly leading that practicum into employment. And what we do throughout the year is try to work with field on providing you the different skills and experiences that will help bolster your confidence, so you'll be able to, one, find different practicum opportunities, as well as be successful in navigating through your practicum and trying to transition that practicum into full-time employment. So in the fall, social work students will be starting to find their practicum almost within the first month or two, and we're here to help you prepare, get your resume and cover letter ready, start doing mock interviews, and get you all ready to go so you can easily transition into that practicum search. In addition, we work with field in the spring to work on some of the career development techniques that will help you navigate the politics of an organization, as well as how to negotiate different salaries and total compensation package to help you start considering transitioning that practicum into full-time employment. It's just a great opportunity. If you think about it, 80% of jobs today in the U.S. market are found from people you know, right? So those are either internal promotions that you find within an organization or someone that you're connected with through a network. There's no better way than through your practicum to be connected to possible job opportunities. And we are here to help you navigate them.
That's great. I've heard from our students that they've taken advantage of opportunities like resume reviews, mock interviews, and so many other opportunities out of your office. And it's just great that you're just a valuable resource to the Brown School, for us, for sure, in admissions recruitment, but really our entire student body. And the other thing that I know, Lee, we steal your line often when we share this, but that the Career Services Office is committed to you from day one, and also committed to you after your time of graduation. So there's no doubt that I've ran into alumni here on campus who are here to meet with you and your team to stay connected with what's available and what's out there. And I think that's a pretty special commitment to our alumni and our members of our community.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So I think at this point, we're at a place where we need to, is there anything else that you wanted to share? I think that I didn't give you space to share.
It's all right, just a few more things. I want to talk a little bit about our Alumni Academy. We've seen roughly 200 alumni just this past year in different advising components. We've also had multiple alumni come to address students in different workshops and seminars. And so the whole design of the Alumni Academy is to help bring back alumni that want to give back to our Brown School community and connect them with students, both in a mentorship type capacity as well as a skill development type capacity. And so that is being expanded upon as we're speaking. We, for our career weekend in this January, most of it is going to be facilitated by different alumni that are anxiously engaged in connecting with students. And so that's one of the things that really sets us apart and makes us unique is our alumni engagement and their commitment to helping you be successful and find jobs. Another thing that we're really focused on is increasing overall salaries. And so this is something that the dean personally has charged me with, is to increase salaries. And just in this past year, we increased the average MSW salary by 10% and the median MSW salary by 5%. We've increased the public health salary average by 19% and the median MPH salary by 9%. And so we are highly passionate about that. And we're also willing to help you work on licensure if you are interested in direct practice and interested in different types of licensure. As you probably are well aware that depending on where you go, the licensure requirements are different. And there's different exceptions and there's different ideas of reciprocity and other things. We are definitely here to help you navigate those disconcerting websites and all the different complexity that comes in with the licensure process. So like I said before, just final thoughts. We are here in a role that mentors students and alumni to help you become successful so you can navigate your entire career trajectory. And this is a service that we provide you as a student as well as an alum. It's a free service, at least as long as I'm here for life. So.
Thank you. Well, hopefully we keep you around for life. All right. So I appreciate that. As you can see, we have some really great people that we work with here at the Brown School. Again, Matt Newland is going to be another resource for you through financial aid, and we'll put his contact information up here shortly. But right now, we want to field some questions, and so I know I have some questions that were provided ahead of time, and if we have any, it sounds like we have at least one that's come in during the presentation. So a question here. The first one I'll start with is a question about international students. Is it important for them to take an English proficiency course, even if they, as a student, use English as a basic language throughout their education? And so that's a pretty big question. And so we want to encourage you to reach out to us directly, because the answer to that is, it just depends. It depends on a lot of different factors, like if you came to a undergraduate institution that was here in the United States, if you went to an undergraduate institution that's on the agreed upon list of English-speaking undergraduate institutions. And so there's a lot that goes into that. So I can never really cover every situation or scenario, and so we want to encourage you to contact us at the information that we're going to contact pretty soon here. I think we covered this one fairly well as far as what are the scholarships available to international students. And as mentioned before, all of the Brown School offers scholarships are available to international students. And so those are our merit-based scholarships, as well as our need-based scholarships are available to international students. We have another question here about tuition and fee waivers, because I know that's a question that often happens. Unfortunately, the tuition and fee waivers are not available to international students. You can be a permanent resident and have access to that, as well as a few other areas like veterans, maybe Service Corps, and other areas. And so you can go online and take a look at that. But this question had to do with international students and fee waivers, and just to make sure that we have that message out there that we do not provide fee waivers for international students who are not permanent residents. As far as students who want to attend and benefit of financial aid, this one specifically was a student from Africa. We have students from many countries all over the world, and students go through the same process, whether you're domestic or international, with the exception of the FAFSA process. And so, again, identifying external opportunities to review is really an important piece. Having a strong application, and not just strong in one area. So not just strong in your GRE for our public health students, or not just strong in your analytical essay, but really strong in every area is really what you want to concentrate on. And so we look at every part, whether it's your academics, your references, and your statements. And so we just encourage you to focus holistically on your application, because that is how we are going to review it, and that's how we're going to assess our scholarship decisions. So that's exactly where we would encourage you to focus your energy. Again, we have a great team of 7 professionals and at least up to 10 student staff. And so within admissions and recruitment, and we are available at any time to talk through the application process if you have any questions beyond that. We're going to move forward with, the question, of course, and just to confirm, right, federal financial aid is only available for domestic students. Absolutely. So the question here is, how do students who have kids, how do they cover daycare? So I think that's a pretty broad, it's a pretty specific question, I should say. I'll just answer it in 2 ways. So I'm listening to a question underneath the question. One is, do we have students who are parents here? And the answer to that is yes. Our students range in age, and definitely we have plenty of students who do have children who work here. I was a graduate student once upon a time as a parent as well. So I can personally attest to that experience, and I know that my colleague Lee has experienced that twice already. So yes, parents do navigate that. And we're not saying that it's easy, but again, when we look at our need-based scholarships, that's one of the criteria that we look at, is if you are a parent. And so that may be an option for you to consider applying to the need-based scholarships that we have to offer. But generally speaking, to finance our education, it's what we named at the top of our presentation. It's work, scholarships, loans. And maybe if you have a savings or anything else that we listed ahead, it's just something that you have to consider when considering your finances, including cost of living in the community that you choose to live. If you want to get connected with current students who have children, or talk to any of us specifically in detail and really talk through that process. I'm pretty sure you'll get a pretty good feel for that as far as how that works here at the Brown School at Washington University as well as other institutions. Please let us know. Contact our office at the contact information outside, as well as Brown Admissions at WUSTL, and we'll be able to connect you with students so you get to talk real time with people about how they're navigating being a parent. We can even connect you with alumni who've gone through that experience as well. So hopefully we can put some of you at ease, because it is possible. We have students who are currently doing it and who have been successful passing through and graduating from our program doing so. And then we have another question here that asks for, I think we already covered that one for sure, which is a fee waiver. Well, again, we said that there are some limited options for fee waivers, and again, you can go online. And then our final question, it looks like, that's coming during this session is, would you happen to know roughly how many full tuition scholarships are awarded per year? That is a great question. So we have a social work program, a public health program, currently that we are external applicants for. And then again, of course, we're excited about down the line having a Master of Social Policy program down the line. Each program is funded differently, and so there are limited numbers of full. I can't tell you the specific number of full ride scholarships. I can just tell you that we have a handful of both public health and in social work separately, and then you have kind of a tier down of awards that are 60, 50, 40, and all the way down to about $5,000. Again, in order to be eligible for any of these scholarships, you must indicate that you are interested in receiving merit-based scholarships. Additionally, there are some specific scholarships that are given outside of our office, administered outside of our office. The Gephardt Fellowship, Gephardt Institute Fellowship that you should take a look at when it comes to future communication. If you're our American Indian, Alaska Native students, there is the Booter Fellowship, which are open to our social work students, and that's a full ride one that's administered, as well as the Olin Fellowships as well, are for our women who enter our program. And so there are a limited number of each of those as well that are administered outside of our office, and there's some great opportunities that are available for a wide variety of identity, backgrounds, experiences, and even if you have a specific interest that matches a scholarship, there are opportunities for you as well. So we cover really everything. If you are, if you have an interest, there's a potential that we have a scholarship associated with that. But again, they range in amounts, and so I would encourage everybody to focus in on your application material. And I know I've said that multiple times, but really that's the best place to focus your energy when it comes to getting your school funded here at the Brown School, is their application and the holistic opportunity. So again, we want to encourage you to contact us. And so I'm going to put on the screen here. I want to thank you, Lee, of course, for being with us and providing us with such great information. I'm going to put our contact information on here. And so if you would, please contact us at these opportunities here to learn more about funding your education and to have a more detailed conversation. And we thank you for tuning in this year.